Good morning, everybody, and welcome to a little 30-minute Yin Yoga session where we try to just work out the kinks in our lower back, work out the kinks in our hips, and the dogs are probably going to join me a lot for this one. This is a class that we're going to do when we have a lot of time, maybe a Saturday morning, Sunday morning class. For me, it's a Sunday afternoon, the sun is nice, and my lower back has been killing me all week, so I'm going to try to do these deep, long stretches to lengthen the muscles, not really strengthening, but more restorative. That's right, isn't it, buddy? We're going to use blocks. I have a blanket because I'm trying to keep my knees padded, and let's get right into it. I am going to start with an extended child's pose with the blocks. Sitting back on my heels, stretching this part, which hurts a lot for me. And then I'm going to slowly crawl my way forward. And again, this is a kind of class that we're going to do when you have a lot of time. 30, 45 minutes to dedicate to really unwinding your body. And so, my knees are as wide as the mat. Try to sit my butt down on my heels, which I'm not great at. I'm going to use the blocks to keep my shoulders released. And I'm going to talk you into these positions, but once we're in them, you really have to fight your own demons here. It's all about trying to breathe deep into the part of your body that you're trying to release. So right now, I'm breathing into my lower back and my hip area. And eventually you want those muscles to relax, and then they will lengthen. It hurts at first. But it's almost every exhale I feel looser and closer to the ground, and after a couple minutes of this, my head should find its way to the mat. I've said it many times, I am not even close to a flexible person, and that's why I do the yoga. Because these muscles are really tight and they're pulling on other muscles, they're pulling on bones, they're pulling on ligaments, and that is all contributing to pain. And what I want to do, at this point in my life, is reduce pain and work on longevity. A couple big breaths into this, my head is already finding its way down to the mat. And I have no problem moving around in these positions. I'm not trying to be a frozen statue. If I have to scoop my knees, I'll scoop my knees. If I have to wiggle my shoulders, I will. I'm trying to keep my collarbones kind of opened up here. Head is heavy. Booty's dropping toward the heels, and I feel it pinching my hips big time. There we go. So however long that was, that's how long it took for my head to relax enough to hit this mat. And now I want to hold it for just another minute or two. The longer you hold the pose, the longer your muscles and the fibers in them are stretching, but you're not yanking them. You're slowly stretching them so they can almost remember how far they can go, and next time you'll be a little bit more flexible. This is not a practice you need to do every day unless you are injured, but once a week, it's really good to train those muscles and loosen them up. Okay, and then the next move I'm going to do is essentially the opposite of this. I'm going to slowly come out of this extended child's pose.
And I'm going to go right into a Sphinx pose, which is going to be a back bend, opening up the collarbones. And my spine is going to do the opposite. Right now it's rounding. And when I get into the Sphinx pose, it's going to be curved the opposite way. So coming out of these yin poses, I do them slow. Do it real slow. And we're going for the Sphinx pose. Hey, buddy. That's Guinness. The small white one is Guinness. He's great. My elbows at my sides, trying to curve the top of my spine, not pinching my neck, keeping my neck sort of lengthened out. And putting in a back bend without pinching my lower back too much. So my goal is to be flexing my back right in the middle to upper, not lower, not neck. And for those of us that happen to have one of those computer jobs, this is a good one for you because you're always hunched over. This is going to open up that really tight, unflexible part of your body that probably gets neglected when you're sitting at the office all day typing emails. There we go. Alarm dog. And just like the other one, we're breathing into the part of us that we want to stretch out more. So I'm trying to breathe and focus the breath right into the middle of my upper middle back. And those birds are chirping. At the same time, I'm pressing my pelvis, hip bones into the mat, trying to keep that flat. I'm not trying to flex in my rib cage, even though it's probably what it looks like. I'm trying to flex above the rib cage, if you will. And this is kind of meditation-y, where you're sitting with your own thoughts and the pain you're putting in your own body for extended periods of time. And if you're not into meditation, this is kind of a good way to start. And even though it sounds very woo-woo, there's a serious correlation between successful, high-achieving people and meditation. So, facts. It's based in facts. And it's right about now where it actually starts to feel good. I move my neck a little bit. Don't jerk it around, but a little left, a little right. Stretching it out, keeping it long. You can feel the blood really pooling up in my hands here. I'm going to adjust my elbows. Try to check for airplanes above us, which there are a couple. I don't know where he's going. Okay, I don't have a watch. I have not been timing these, but I think I'm good with this one. So I'm going to breathe out and down slowly. Rest my head for a second. And believe it or not, just putting your head on your hands like this is giving a little bit of, what's the word? Putting a little bit of stretchiness right there in the upper back area. You are doing a micro back bend right now just by having your head on your hands, even though these sunglasses are getting in the way now.
You'd be surprised holding this position for a few minutes how you'll feel it in that upper back. Better for your posture, you'll get it a couple inches taller, you know? If that's what you're going for. Should have been doing this my whole life. Could have been a basketball star. Okay. Get those legs moving. I'm going to press myself up into a tabletop pose. And I'm going to do cat and cow, get the kinks out, and then roll onto my back for the next one. Breathe in. Not too hard, but I feel that for sure. Breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. All right, let's get on our backs. And I'm going to do one of my favorite things to do, which is a nice little twist. So you're laying flat on your back. I'm going to extend my right leg, pulling my left knee into my body. Not too hard. Can't say it enough. But you want to feel it pulling on that glute right there and pinching that front hip flexor area right there. Just breathe it out. And then once you feel like you're ready for it, I'm going to take that left leg and cross it right over my body, trying to keep my collarbones facing up, shoulders planted on the mat. And here's where my inflexibility really shines, but this is where I'm going to hold it. And I think I'm actually going to take one of these blocks and put my little foot on it so I get more of a hinge going on my hip. So I'm not holding up my own leg, but I'm using the gravity, the weight of my knee to pull my leg down. Right hand on the left knee to keep your twisting. Left arm is kind of out. It's going to dangle for a few minutes, so it's going to do different things. But this is the breathing into your left glute muscle. That'll get you closer and closer to touching the ground with that knee. And if you notice, your body, even if your brain is telling it to relax, your body is resisting this for the first minute, for maybe first 2 minutes of the pose. And it's only just sitting here long enough and not forcing it that your body starts to relax. I'm sure there's some explanation for that. I think your nervous system is fighting the urge. But if I know if I sit here for a few minutes and finally hit that point of relaxing, hello airplane, no one's close. My leg will just drop, half an inch, and then almost on every exhale, it'll keep dropping. I hope you went to the bathroom before you started this, because relaxing is harder when you have to pee, to be honest with you. Sitting next to this pool, hearing the filter going is not helping. Just relax and breathe into your outer hip. Started to feel a little tingle in my left fingers, that's for sure. And there it is. There's that moment where my hip finally said, okay, I'll relax a little bit for you. And now I feel it totally stretching. And it feels wonderful. These are the 20, 30-minute sessions you do in your 30s and 40s that you will be so glad you did in your 70s and 80s. And once you hit that point where the stretch is actually stretching and your body's not fighting it, just sit with it. Enjoy it if you can. Breathing is all you have to do. All right, coming out of it, I'm gonna bring that left leg back to neutral. Get my whole spine on the mat if I can, lengthen tailbone toward your feet. Pinch old left foot, left leg back into your body. Drop your left leg down, pick your right leg up. I'm gonna move my block because I like the way that worked. I'm putting this block under my foot, so my knee is just kind of flopping over. All right, right leg, pulling in. Get that hip ready for what's going to happen to it. And big deep breath out. Try to keep the collarbones facing up, shoulders on the mat. And hit the pose, boom. And try to relax. Couple minutes like this. My right hip and my left hip are very different hips. This right hip feels like it could come out of joint at any time. My left hip's solid, I trust that one. But my right hip is janky. So I've been working on it for a while. But kind of like that bad kid in school, you can't take your eye off it one day. He's lighting a fire in the corner. That's an analogy that makes very little sense. Whatever. Oh, I just tried to move my right arm up toward my head, and that just deepened the stretch, and I was not ready for it. I feel it now. I can almost not even talk. Just gonna breathe and let you fight your own battles. Oh. Breathe it in. Breathe it out. That breeze was perfectly timed with that breath. That's a nice feeling. I like that. Kind of lonely without the dogs joining me. They usually just sit right here. And remember, once you hit that point where your nervous system is let go and you've relaxed, that's about halfway. And if you want to reap all the benefits, you need to be patient. I'm almost getting a better stretch out of my right shoulder, which is also an atrocity. I played a lot of baseball, I pitched, played a lot of volleyball, and this right shoulder has done too much swinging, too much throwing as fast as it could. And it's not in very good shape nowadays in my almost 40 years. Oh. Sun is popping out now. And there it is. There's that moment. Body finally relaxed. Oh. It may have had something to do with the sun coming out. I'm heating up. But look at this. Now I can look over to the right, stare at the camera, which I hope is still running. I feel it, and it feels freaking great. A few more really deep, relaxing breaths here. Do not push down too much on your knee. I'm just keeping my left hand on my right knee to hold it in place while I breathe it in and let gravity pull it down. I think I put sunscreen on. This is the winner. This is the best feeling I've had so far. And this is on my janky hip and my janky shoulder side, so win for me. Twists are also detoxifying for yourself. You're kind of squeezing those internal organs, wringing them clean. Maybe you had a bad night last night. I don't know what you do. Oh, but this is going to fix your problems. All right, time to do my least favorite pose, but the one I need the most work. I'm gonna do a little froggy pose. So, relax that right leg. I'm gonna use my hands to bring myself back to neutral, flat on my back. And before I move on to frog pose, I'm gonna plant both feet on the mat, hug my lower ribs in, and drop my legs to the left, legs to the right, little windshield wiper action. Remove any of the kinks in my lower back spine. Oh yeah. All right, I'm gonna adjust my mat so I can put my forearms here on the mat, but then you at home can see the full beauty of this one for me. I'm going to use this blanket for my knees. And here's what we're doing. It's a froggy pose. I'm going to widen. Oh, see how unflexible I am? I want my knees and my ankles to be aligned here. And I'm feeling it on fire in my adductors here and here. But this is going to be slow and very helpful. So now I'm going to try to push myself back a little bit. And eventually I'm going to go down to my forearms. But first I'm going to find the pose, because this almost hurts. And I do not want it to hurt. I want it to feel nice. Okay. So I'm going to take my forearms. And I don't even know how to explain it to you, but I feel it, my hip bone, my femur bones, and where they join my hip socket is electric right now. The outside of my hips, my glutes right here, boom, boom, are not well developed, and they need this. So I'm going to slowly sink into this one and breathe through it. And I might cry a little bit. Oh. I'm going to try to hold this one for a while, but I don't know how tough I am today. Oh, there it is. I'm actually sinking into it nicely. This feels good already. Just relax. Let the body know I'm not going to hurt you. I'm trying to help you. A little wiggle so I don't calcify here. Oh yeah. And if you've muted me by now and you're just watching, I respect that. Wish I could mute me sometimes too. My wife feels the same way. I'm very annoying. Oh, okay. This is the move. Your inhale is filling up the area you want to stretch, and then exhale, you feel yourself sink deeper without hurting yourself. That's kind of the goal. That's the goal. And the wind is hooking me up with a nice breeze right now, cooling me down. We're almost done with this. Oh, that feels great. Now that my body is really relaxed and surrendered almost, every exhale I'm finding a little bit more space, a little bit more of a deep stretch, and less pain, which is crazy. Oh, head to the mat. It's a big move. My nose is whistling now. And my body knows it's almost over. Alright, we're going to do 2 more positions in this Yin Yoga class, but I'm not going to hold them as long. I'm just going to use them to get the blood flow back to my feet because I feel like this one's rough. A couple more deep breaths in froggy torture pose. Alrighty, so I'm going to use my forearms, and I'm going to go forward, not backwards. Push myself up. Bring my feet in first, then my knees slowly. So just to shake it out, little hamstring action, just a standing forward fold. Just hip width distance apart on the feet. Deep breath, mountain pose, and a gentle, slow fold forward. And the minute you feel pain, round. I'm holding on to my knees here because what I did it hurts. Yeah. Thank you for participating today. We're going to end in a very basic child's pose. And that's kind of the closing meditation of this one. Let your body absorb all the nutrients that you've had today, all the work you just did. It's kind of both mental and physical. Okay, down to your knees. I'm going to use the blanket for my knees here. And I might even use this mat to double it up for my head. So, I'm going to sit back. Your knees are almost together. Your big toes are together behind you. Slowly lean it forward. We all know child's pose, but for me, I don't want to just go for it just yet. I want to get my head close, make sure my hips are not going to pop out of their socket. Once I feel good, arms behind me. My head can't even reach this mat, so I'm going block. Glasses off. Yeah, there we go. My head is curling on my yoga block. Get those muscles in my lower back relaxing. And now, block's gonna move. And get my head slowly down to the mat. And here's where we're just gonna hold it. I think this is when meditation really will come in handy. Or slower breathing in this pose, filling up your lower back with air like a balloon. And if you're like me, at some point, your hips are going to start to cramp up here. I try to fight through it. I try to relax them, tell them chill. But sometimes that just is the end of it for me. We've done about 30 minutes of this. Slow, restorative poses. And if you are like me, you're going to feel great for an hour or two after this. Then you're going to be a little bit stiff. There's the relaxing moment. Boom.
Couple more breaths here, and we're going to wrap it up for the day. If you made it all the way to the end, I'm proud of you, because it's not easy to set aside this much time in your day and really just pick a pose and sit in it. But the benefits are incredible, and I'm proud of you for choosing it. All right. Coming out of child's pose now, so use my hands, pick myself up, and look at our hot mess of a yoga mat. Thank you for joining me on this 30-minute and change yin yoga session in the backyard by the pool. I'm proud of us that we set aside this much time in our day to work on the things that hurt, the ankles, the hips. And remember, old guys need to do yoga to stay less old.